Hi, I'm Lois Beres at KZGN-TV, and this is Ridgecrest Talk. And today I'm talking with Ken Dalpiaz, who is with the Elks Club. He's with our local Elks Club and the state Elks Club, and he's going to tell us all about all that stuff. Welcome. Thank you for coming. I appreciate it. We're going to try to get you guys information so you know what these guys do. Sometimes we know they're there, but we don't know what you do.
Right.
So I think we need to get that out to the people. You have been in Ridgecrest for some time, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
For
Came about,
1963, February of 63.
your father was in the Navy, right?
He was in the Navy.
We all
and
seem to get here because of the Navy,
Well,
don't we? Not
and
so much anymore, but
The big thing is staying here. What keeps people here? So what it kept us here, my father was from Colorado, and the mountains here, the fishing, the hunting, and plus the desert and small town. He loved
Yeah.
the small town.
it's
so.
just neat. And the people. There's just
Right.
something about the people here in Ridgecrest that is just
Oh
so
yeah,
neat.
there's in our traveling, we find coming home is always
Kind of pleasant.
Yeah.
Yes, I love that. And you don't have all the high pressure that the big cities have, but we've got, and
Right.
you can go to the store, almost always see one or two people that you know.
That's
So
correct.
that is really
In
neat.
fact, I get in trouble for staying too long.
Your wife says, I thought you were going to come home with that. Well, but I saw John and I said, right,
Right.
it happens. Well, you lived here since about 1960 and you became an elk when?
Well, when I turned 21 in 1964, or no, excuse me, 1966, I actually became an elk, and was 21 years of age, but almost 22.
Oh, okay.
So my father was an elk, and how we got into it's a fraternal organization. It was all men at the time, and ladies was in a different,
An auxiliary or
Yeah,
something?
auxiliary.
Right.
So the thing that happened was what brought us to the Elks to start with was bowling.
Really?
We were bowlers, and our bowling community in Ridgecrest was pretty big in that time. And my dad, after he got out of the military, he became the manager of the China Lake Bowl
Oh, really?
on the base.
Oh, wow.
So the Hall Lanes, it's built over there right now.
Is it the same one? pretty
Well,
much?
Hall Lanes eventually in 1968 was when it was built, and my father was the manager.
Wow.
So he was involved in it, and I bowled in the grand opening against Harry Smith, a pro bowler that's a Hall of Famer now.
Wow.
And so this was what happened, is the bowling thing got us interested in the Elks because they had a lot of tournaments. Each of the
Okay.
lodges, and the annual one was the Showboat Showboat Frontier Classic in Las Vegas. So
Oh,
every
wow.
year we went to Las Vegas, so we look forward to
That's
that
not
tournament.
too bad a duty.
So from that, learning the Elks and eventually learning about all the charities and the things that the Elks do for their community, that's their actual goal is to help their community and their government. That
Okay.
means even the city or what have you, if they can do anything to help. So many
So
things.
each club or lodge has that as a goal. That's part of the
Right.
reason their group.
We have a mission statement that's
Okay.
in general, and that is to promote, charity. And in fact, our charity symbol of charity in our lodge is the American flag.
Ah, okay.
So each station, we have 4 officers that do a ritual. And the ritual comes from way back in the olden days. 1868 is when
Really?
the Elks started.
Oh, I was going to ask you that. That's neat. That's a while
So
back.
the time frame there is way before World War One. So, and that's getting into what we do for veterans, and that's one of our main goals is veterans today.
Oh, okay.
So, in fact, this month, next week, we do 2 different veterans, Barstow Veterans Hospital, and then one in Lancaster.
What do you
That we
do?
actually go there and have a show that these young people put on. It's almost like going to Hollywood.
No kidding.
And
Wow.
they put on a show for them, and we sponsor it. We pay for their rooms, we pay for their food, and we help the young group travel through the United States.
So they entertain the veterans and
That is
the
correct.
people that are in the hospital.
Right.
Wow.
So, we go way back because the Elks really started after World War I in 1917. They actually helped with money and things with the military in France.
Oh, really? Okay.
And then they took and reconstructed a hospital in Boston, Massachusetts in 1918, and it had 700 beds. And this is the first of what we call today a veterans hospital.
Wow.
So the Elks actually donated it.
To
and
begin
gave-
this
yeah.
veterans, wow.
So we're really into it. Well,
You really
people don't
are.
realize is that some of our presidents were Elks.
I
So-
have read that, but then
Harry
I
S.
told-
Truman was one.
Was he? Okay.
And that's how we got our Flag Day being
Ah.
June the 14th, or officially through Congress.
Through him.
Through
Or
him.
Congress
He actually
and him.
signed the thing through Congress, and he was an Elk.
So you guys were responsible for Flag Day then?
Well, I think some
Pushing
people
it a little
yeah,
bit?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
did.
Oh, that's
So
great. That
it's
was
an
my aunt's
annual-
birthday, so I always remember that, June 14th, right?
Right,
Yeah.
and so it's an annual thing. It's required by our what we call the Grand Lodge.
Mm-hmm.
We have a Grand Lodge, Grand Exalted Ruler, and we have local lodges that have their own exalted rulers.
And that's sort
which
of like would correspond with the president or something?
president or executive officer
Okay,
of the lodge.
okay.
But they use that term as pretty much the ritualistic thing. And
I get it.
The guys that
Okay.
started it, Charles Vivian, who was from England, so they were theatrical people.
Okay,
And
so they
this is the
flowered it
kinda-
up a bit.
Right. So
Yeah.
when you read the words of which they wrote, and a lot of it didn't change through the ritualistic, how they conduct their meetings.
Even till now.
Sometimes you go, "Ooh, wait a minute! Shouldn't you say it this way?" But
No,
so-
that's what the script says.
but
That's what
this
we'll
is
say.
what it was: theatrics
Wow.
and a way of, and how we got to be the Elks.
That's another question I wanted to
was
say.
from
How'd
the
you get-
Jolly Corks. The Jolly Corks, Charles Vivian, they were called the Jolly Corks, and there was like 15 of them.
Okay.
And so in 1868, when they actually started the Elks, one of them got ill and died. And so the wife, they said, gee, we need to help her.
Mm-hmm.
So when they did, they thought, gee, this is a good thing. We should help
Right.
people.
Uh-huh.
So this is where the idea of charitable and going out and helping the community.
Oh, wow.
So then when they became the Elks, they had a vote between the buffalo and the elk.
Really?
The buffaloes were an English group, fraternal organization, and Charles Vivian
Was
was
in
one
that.
of those.
So he
here
wanted
he
to
is in
continue
New
with
York,
the
and this is all
buffaloes.
going on in New York and stuff.
Okay.
And so it ended up that they voted 8-7 for the elk.
Okay.
And the reason the elk was chosen was their swift of foot, keen of sense, and their antlers are protection.
Wonderful.
So, I
I
mean,
love
it's
it.
really-
Okay, hang on to that thought. We're going to go to a break, and we'll be back in about 2 minutes.
Okay.
Okay. Hi, you're back with Lois Beres and Ken Dalpiaz, and we're talking about the Elks Club. Elks Lodge, is that how you
Elks
say
Lodge,
it?
Elks Club.
Elks Club, Elks Lodge. I guess we're talking about the Elks. And that's actually what we were talking about at the time, was why they are called Elks. And you want to elaborate on that just a little bit more? Or?
Well, the elk emblem and the antlers is part of how we got chosen to be. Is our forefathers from England
In the
primarily,
1800s.
In the 1800s, and New York is the #1 lodge that was built. They picked. There was 15 of them, and they were called the Jolly Corks. I won't go into why they call themselves the Jolly Corks. Actually, it was a cork trick.
A what?
In other words, a cork.
Okay.
You know, like it out of
Yeah,
a bottle.
yeah, okay.
And so they used to do a trick, and they would always bring in somebody, hey, let me show you this trick.
And
then
that's how
would-
they got.
And they'd get the guy, and he'd lose, and of course they were setting him up.
Oh, yeah.
So they would always laugh and all that. In those days,
Silly
people
guy.
said, I'm jolly, meaning I'm happy.
Okay.
So the Jolly Corks.
Oh, how cool.
And so there were 15 of them. In fact, at our lodge today, we have a book that you can sign in. And on the front page is a picture of all 15 of these guys. I want to say old guys
Yeah,
because I'm
well,
old now.
but not that
they were-
old.
yeah, but they're all sitting there all dressed and real proper, and there's 15 of them. They're the Jolly
Oh.
Corks.
Isn't that cool? And then they branched off and became the Elks?
They
or-
actually decided and voted as a organization to become the Elks.
Not Corks anymore, but Elks. Or were they Corks also?
No, they were the Jolly Corks, and then they sat and had a meeting, and they said, okay, let's vote on being as I said earlier, the buffalo was the English version of a fraternal organization, which the Charles Vivian, who was the originator of the Elks, are considered to be. He was a buffalo. So when they voted, they actually voted between the elk. Somebody brought up elk, so it was voted at 8-7 by one vote that it became the Elks.
How
Otherwise,
cool.
I'd be sitting here saying I'm a buffalo.
I'm a buffalo, right? Well, I
So-
guess that's not so
So
bad
anyway,
either.
but you know,
That's neat.
so
And then you
anyway.
use that elk persona in your
Well, they do a
decorations and everything.
right in their meetings. They do a ritualistic meeting. Like the moose and the eagles, I think, have similar types of procedures that they do in meetings. So it's a very, very, like, it's not like sitting there and laughing and all that. You're very quiet and you're sitting there and
Serious,
and a very serious thing. So each of these people, they memorize their parts. In the olden days, they had to memorize numerous
Lots more than
sentences and paragraphs. And
Wow.
so this was the big thing, and they all dressed in tuxedos. They looked very proper. And
Y'all
when you,
still do, don't you?
well, some lodges are more dressed than others, and depending on the lodge. So if
Okay,
you
and
go to-
probably the event even.
so
too, maybe.
as an exalted ruler or past exalted ruler, I have a officer's jacket,
Okay.
which is Ridgecrest, is in particular jacket of red color, kind of
Oh.
like the
Ambassadors?
in
Chamber?
Ridgecrest, our
Yeah.
Chamber of Commerce.
Okay.
And then you also have to have a blue jacket. Once you become a exalted ruler and you go to the state convention, you get a blue jacket. Now, blue stands for California Hawaii Elks. That's their color. So when we go
Okay.
to the Grand Lodge convention, we're all wearing these blue jackets. Well, they know who we are.
Ah,
So
you can't
this
hide
kinda
from
keeps,
them. No,
people
that's
together.
neat.
And then we have a white dinner jacket for big higher up things. So we do all of our prestigious stuff with a white tux,
Okay.
white dinner jacket tux.
And what officers do you have? You have exalted ruler as your chief executive officer,
Right.
whatever. And then what others do you have?
Okay, you have a loyal knight, and you have a leading knight, which is next up from the exalted ruler. So that would be the person who would take the exalted ruler's place in case he was absent,
Okay.
the leading knight. And then you have the loyal knight, and they have the lecturing knight. And so then, of course, you have a squire who runs around for the exalted ruler and brings people in and does different things.
Neat.
And
Okay.
you have a chaplain.
Now, are those members also? They're not like teenagers or something?
Yeah, they're regular members.
Regular
They have to be
members.
21 and have to have a membership card to be in the meeting.
That's right.
So when you come to the door, the esquire checks everybody's, make sure that they have proper identification.
I get it.
And so then we have an inner guard and a tiler. And the tiler's at the outside door. We
Okay.
call it the anteroom.
Okay.
So it's kind of
You
like
come
a
to
secret.
there, and
if you
then-
want to look at it as a secret thing, because there is a little hole in the door. If you ever go to the Elks Lodge and see these double doors, there's a round hole. This is where you look in and see what's going on, and you're the tiler. You have to watch what's going on.
So he can't let anybody in at just
Right.
any time,
Right.
right?
So you don't just come and go, and during a meeting when you're having voting or something, you can't leave. So it's kind of regimented.
Interesting. It is neat.
Very
though.
regimented.
Yeah.
So, and if you need a guest to come that's not a member, usually have them come before the meeting's called to order. In other words, you wouldn't need a membership
Oh.
card if you walked in and we didn't start the
Just
meeting.
visited a little bit and whatever, and then
Right.
we all
Say I
started the
wanted to
meeting,
give-
then he
Yeah,
she
maybe the
left.
Elks wanted to give you an award,
Mm-hmm.
and you're not a member. So this is one way of doing it. It's before the meeting, and everybody's looks like it's the meeting, but we haven't started.
But you
it.
haven't opened the meeting or anything like
Right,
that.
then
All
it's
right.
open.
Well,
So
that's
it's a
great.
very regimented, the ritual is a very unique thing, and they have a ritual contest, and it goes all the way to the grand or the national.
Really?
So each lodge can participate in this, and district, then state, then the national.
Is it only in America?
United States, but it's also in Guam
Oh,
and the
okay.
Philippines, because
Oh.
the United States being there.
Yeah, we have presence in those
But
places,
the
right?
Benevolent Protective Order of Elks is of the United States of America. So you have to be an
Mm-hmm. Okay.
American citizen, and you must believe in God
Okay, that's
in
pretty.
order to be a member.
And then do you have to be invited? Can you go over there and say, I want to be one? How do you do that?
If you came and said, I'd like to be a member, then we would and talk to you and what they call an investigation and that. And usually you got to have other members attest to you.
Oh, I see.
In other words,
Okay.
some friend or something.
Most
But
lodges
most
do
time
something
it all
like
works
that.
out because everybody, small town. But
Right.
But
So-
yes, it is. It is a wonderful organization. I mean, I've stayed there for 50 consecutive years and
Can't
enjoy
complain
the
about
people. And
Well, my dad was an elk, and we just had a ball with it because it had a lot of family things that went
Right.
on and a lot of individual things for my dad, and then it was just great.
well, they have mandatory things that they must do from the Grand Lodge. We have a statutes book, and it tells you how to run your lodge.
Okay.
So they dictate
Okay,
what.
hang on to that. We've
Okay.
got to go again to break. We could just keep talking forever. We'll be back in another 2 minutes, and we'll finish up with these guys at the Elks. Okay, you're back with Lois and Ken is telling us about the Elks Lodge and all the wonderful things that they do, and we've talked a little bit about the lodge and their organization. Now we want to go into a little bit about what you actually do, because you are a community service organization. You do a lot for the community.
Right. One thing, just before we jump right in there,
I
I'd
did
like
kinda
to
say
I- no,
stop,
I
yeah.
would like to say this, is that our lodge in Ridgecrest actually was started in 1953,
Oh,
October
really?
the 10th. It was when it was actually, brought in as an Elks Lodge.
There weren't very many people.
Well, it was really strange. We have 2 charter members originally. They're 62-year members.
Really?
And Bud Air is one of them.
No kidding.
And the other one is James Pryor. Now, Bud Air can tell me today, because he comes to the lodge still.
Does he still?
Yes,
Oh, how cool.
and him and Helen. And anyway, there was a big line over to the place where they were signing up to become Elks. And some of the people got in the line and would say, well, what are you guys all standing in line for? Oh, we're signing up to the Elks Lodge. And they go, oh, okay. So they
So
joined
they
the
just
Elks.
jumped on.
So right. So anyway, this is in 1953. So the building you see now as the Elks Lodge
Mm-hmm.
at 201 East Church Avenue was actually completed and finished in 1956.
Wow.
So that's
and
the
it's the
story.
same building you had then.
That's right.
That's
So anyway.
amazing. I love it.
Now to get with
The
what we do.
activities. Yeah, what do you do?
What do
I
we
know.
do? Well, we have what we call Americanism.
Okay.
And what that is of course, we support the American flag. We do things that are, for Americanism, like Flag Day
Mm-hmm.
that we talked about. And we also display the flag and the missing in action. So, because the veterans and the ones that are not here yet, we're waiting. We have a table there, like the American Legion and all of them do, a table set for that missing in action person to come.
Okay.
And waiting for them.
Wow.
We do drug awareness.
Okay.
Which
How do you do that?
Okay, well, we have a drug awareness program in the Elks, and we have pamphlets and things, and we go to schools, and we talk to them. We've had, in fact, when our Mayor Carter was here with us, he came to the Elks Lodge, and a lot of young people came, and they got up and testified how they were well now and not on drugs and things, and they all got to let themselves be known to people.
That's wonderful,
So-
and part of that's because you guys helped them.
Right, so that's
Wow.
one of the programs, because the DARE program is pretty much gone from the communities, which is sad.
Yeah, because that was a good program.
Right,
but
and then youth activities, we do the annual Christmas, Children's Christmas
I
Parade.
love that. Yeah,
So,
that's good.
and that's been involved for some 40-some years. So that's been quite a thing for us, because we have all the children, and they love it, and
Oh,
they
yeah,
wouldn't
and the
do
big kids
without it.
too, because I think it's neat.
Right, and so with the children, we do a children Christmas party for our members, and whoever they bring in the children, we have gifts for them.
Ah.
So we have them sign up ahead of time and their ages, so we know what to give them. We have Santa Claus come, so that's an annual thing. Of course, scholarships are Elks National Foundation. That's a foundation that does all of our scholarships. Now, we have a lady called Jan Bennett, who was Chamber
know
of Commerce
Jan,
lady.
yeah.
But she
Everybody
has
knows
done
Jan.
a marvelous
Yeah.
job. We had one girl win $42,800.
Wow.
From Ridgecrest, Burles High School.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And so that's what the Elks do. So they
Okay.
support the
We support
children.
your town, yeah.
And then we do an Elks Memorial every year. Elks Memorial is for our members, what we call absent members. So whenever the first Sunday of every December, this is a Grand Lodge requirement, you must do this ritualistic show of love and for our absent members.
Ah.
So we have a memorial board. It's outside when you walk into the Elks Lodge in the front door. There's a placard for every person that was a member that has passed on.
Wow, that's great.
And this is the significance of the Elks. When you look at the Elks, their emblem, you'll see a clock in the middle, and it has the hour of 11. And the hour of 11 is significant because it's the time when we stop. If we were like all dining or whatever we're doing and sitting there and talking, it turns to 11 o'clock, we stop everything in the lodge. We all hold hands and we do the 11-hour toast.
Every day?
Every day if we were there.
Really?
So
11 a.m., p.m.?
11 p.m.
Okay.
Now that's been a problem because most of us don't stay up that late.
After a while, yeah, we get a little bit better. But
But-
that's interesting, and I
Right.
like that.
But
That's
anyway, we
great.
do also help the scouting.
Oh, do you? You work with Scouts?
Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. We don't have a troop that we sponsor, but we do go and help them, and they come and help us, and we give them donations.
I know they work sometimes with your Flag Day stuff,
Right,
don't they?
and they
Yeah.
do the cremation of the flags. The Boy Scout troops do.
I got a couple I need to do this time.
But
Flags.
anyway, this little guy here is called the Purple Pig,
Yeah, it is.
and this is major projects. This is what is to help the children walk, talk, see, and play. So
Okay.
every year we have a theme child who comes out, and we have like about 40-some nurses and the medical people that we hire. And the Elks pays and goes out to the areas, to their homes, and helps them and gets
Locally?
them going. Actually, it's rural areas that in need of help, and Ridgecrest has kind of been
On the fence.
Well, it used to be in the 50s, and then they kind of went away because of the medical people that they have here
I see.
that we can
Okay.
handle the
Okay.
situation. But this is a penny a day. It used to be in the old days a penny a day helps a child walk, talk, see, and play. So when you put a
Oh, cool.
coin in,
Yeah?
the
Oh,
hat
look,
tips.
the hat tips.
Says
Is that
thank you.
cute?
So anyway,
You
that's
still have them?
Yep.
All right.
And that's the purple.
Now we're down to just about
Okay.
a minute, so you want to be sure and get everything in that you
Okay,
need.
another thing is veterans. Veteran service is the big thing that the Elks do. The Elks War Relief Fund that I talked before that started the hospitals, and so our slogan is, so long as there is a veteran, the Elks will never forget them. So
Great.
this is what we stand
like
on,
that.
and of course we have a lot of veterans that are
In this
members,
area, a lot.
as Elks.
Exactly.
So anyway, the Elks, for me, we do donations to all kinds of nonprofits in Ridgecrest. And so our bingo charities is what helps us. We have bingo every Thursday night.
Thursday night, okay.
And-
I heard there's a bingo every day in
Right.
town.
So
here,
anyway-
but yours is Thursday. Okay. And you donate that to kids' programs and that sort of
Right,
thing?
and this is how we do some of the scholarship stuff and everything. We
Wonderful.
also do 50 baskets every year, 25 at Thanksgiving and 25 at Christmas. We work with the Salvation Army, and then we make up baskets. We get donations from our local schools, the young children, bring in the canned goods and all the stuff. Then we
Perfect.
put that all together, and we go out and deliver 25
that
at
don't have
Thanksgiving
food.
that don't have food.
Wonderful.
And,
You know what? We are at the end here. I really appreciate you coming in, and there's so much more to know about these guys. So if you're interested, talk to Ken or talk to somebody you know who is an Elk, or I guess you could just show up down there and talk to you, right?
Right.
And what's the address again?
201 East Church Avenue,
Okay.
right down there from Carl's Jr.
There's usually somebody there in the afternoons or something. isn't
Usually.
there? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it so much, and we may have to do this again because there's an awful lot of stuff that they do. And thank you for doing that for our town.
All
We
right, thank
appreciate
you.
it. Thank you. I will see you next week, and thanks a lot.